If you grew up in America during the 1960s, your pockets told your life story. By the time the 1980s rolled around, we looked back and realized something had changed. Kids didn't carry much back then, but everything they carried mattered. No screens, no gadgets, just small, ordinary things that felt important. Today, we're taking a quiet walk back in time to remember 10 things every 60s kid kept in their pocket. Every 60s kid had loose change rattling around in their pocket. Pennies, nickels, maybe a dime if you were lucky. That change meant a soda at the drugstore or candy after school. You could feel its weight and know exactly what it could buy. By the 1980s, kids still had money, but it didn't feel as simple anymore. Almost everyone had a lucky penny. Maybe it came from your dad, or maybe you found it heads up on the sidewalk. You kept it for tests, baseball games, or just because it felt right. It wasn't about luck as much as comfort. By the 80s, kids stopped believing small objects could protect a whole day. Marbles weren't just toys, they were currency. You knew which ones were special the moment you saw them. Some stayed in your pocket, others came out for serious playground business. Winning marbles felt like winning respect. By the 1980s, playground games had changed and marbles stayed home or disappeared. Back then, carrying a small pocket knife wasn't strange. It meant your parents trusted you. You used it to carve wood, cut string, or feel a little more grown up. It wasn't dangerous, it was useful. By the 80s, that kind of trust slowly faded away. Baseball cards lived in pockets until they were bent and worn. You carried your favorites to trade, argue over, and show off. Every kid thought they had the next big star. Those cards connected kids to heroes on the radio and TV. Later on, cards became collectibles instead of companions. Most kids had a handkerchief folded neatly in their pocket. Your mom made sure of it. You used it for runny noses, scraped knees, or wiping sweat. It was practical, but it also felt like home. By the 1980s, disposable tissues took over, and handkerchiefs vanished. This sounds strange now, but many kids carried matchbooks. They came from diners, gas stations, or places your parents took you. Sometimes you just liked flipping them open and closed. Sometimes you wanted to feel grown up. As rules tightened over the years, matchbooks stopped showing up in kids' pockets. Some kids folded comic pages and stuffed them into their pockets. They reread them during quiet moments or showed them to friends. Those characters felt alive. They traveled with you everywhere. By the 80s, comics stayed cleaner and far less personal. A yo-yo, jacks, or a tiny plastic figure. Nothing fancy, but enough to pass time. You could pull it out anytime, anywhere. No batteries, no instructions. As toys got bigger and electronic, pocket toys faded away. Sometimes the most important thing in your pocket was a small note, a reminder to be home before dark, or just a few words from mom or dad. You didn't show it to anyone, but you kept it close. By the 1980s, messages became faster, but never quite as meaningful. Looking back from the 1980s, those pockets held more than objects. They held freedom, trust, and quiet moments we didn't know we'd miss. Life felt slower and somehow heavier in a good way. If these memories feel familiar, share them in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep remembering where we came from.